Hello and welcome everyone. This is Floria and you're watching another episode of It's Floria. And today is a special day. If you've seen on my Facebook page, I've been very excited because I have one of my great, wonderful friends here, Stephen Wade Nebgen, and he has written a children's book, and I was very excited about it. As I mentioned on my Facebook page, my mother, when I was young, she bought me more books than she did dolls. And so as a child, I had read all of the children's classics, Alice in Wonderland, and then from there she had us reading, Edgar Allan Poe. So my mother was very avid about us reading. And so I had lots and lots of books as a child, and they were very treasured to me. And then on top of that, I still feel that there's just not enough family time spent with your children. And so this book, it touched me because I felt like, what happened to the times when grandparents and parents used to sit down with their children and read a book. And as you've seen from one of my previous shows, the Grandma Minnie's Oatmeal and Eggs, I was very influenced by my great-grandmother and the time that she spent with me and investing in me and singing. So I believe very strongly in children and grandparents spending time and families spending quality time with their children. And that's why this book really kind of touched my heart. I want to just take a quick second and introduce the author here. Stephen Wade Nebgen, he's a single father of two, an entertainment attorney, and he created Theodore's play for his two children and his beloved wife, Jill. Stephen has been a producer, director, and a writer, and has numerous credits in film, theater, and television. However, his labor of love for his children and late wife is Theodore's play. I would love for you to welcome Steve to the show.
Thank you.
And I'm very happy to introduce this beautiful book that I've been talking about all week on my Facebook and my channel. So I want to just kind of like spend some time talking and just kind of delve into this book. And one of the first things that I was curious to know about this book is how did it come about being written? What was the inspiration behind it?
Right. Well, without being too much on the sad part, I was married to a wonderful woman named Jill, and unfortunately she passed away from ovarian cancer. And she battled it for quite a while, and while she did that, we had two small children, Austin and Lindsay, and so I had to tuck them in at night and read them bedtime stories.
Aww.
And so after that experience, it sparked an interest in me and a desire in me to write a book, a children's book, that would be warm and loving and giving in the spirit of my wife, and then as an example to my children and other children. So that's a little bit of the background for the inspiration for the book.
Now tell us about the character. I loved him. I thought the character development was beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about Theodore.
Well, Theodore comes from many different inspirations. He's got elements of a variety of different people, including my own son, Austin. Theodore is warm and giving, rather innocent of the world because he's a young boy. He's, in my mind, he's around 8 years old.
Okay.
Okay. And then he has 3 brothers and 2 sisters, so there's 6 siblings and a family, father and mother. And they live in a cottage in the forest. And Theodore is just a person that is encountering situations that help him learn various small, important lessons. So for this book, the lesson was that a simple act of generosity, without giving away the book, a simple act of generosity on Theodore's behalf helps to create the situation of it being a very, very special Christmas.
That's beautiful. So it has it's a teaching of children. There's a life lesson there.
Yes, very much so. Particularly in this day and age, I wanted something that was warm and embracing,
Yes.
comforting, not overly confrontational and adversarial, not that way. Learning to resolve conflict. You know, conflict is inevitable, but you
Right.
don't have to, there's ways to make it be a learning experience
Right.
instead of a divisive experience. And then, so being a father was very important to me to instill these principles in my children and hopefully, again, to inspire other children.
And that's kind of what your desire is for this book.
Yes. And then it would be part of a greater series. We're expanding the concept, so it goes beyond just the book.
Okay.
So first of all, with the book, which is centered at Christmas time,
Okay.
we're right now in the process of animating the book into a half-hour Christmas special.
Nice.
So, and that's going along very well. It's looking really nice. And we've got a wonderful theme that's been developed, which we hope will catch on,
Yes.
you know. And so we're developing the animated special. And then there is a greater plot arc, which encompasses right now 6 books.
Okay.
So you mentioned The Wizard of Oz. This is a little bit, or Alice in Wonderland, I think you mentioned. Alice in Wonderland a little bit, but more it sparked, when you said Alice, it sparked in my mind Wizard, The Wizard of Oz and Dorothy. And that's really a model for this in the sense of an overall universe.
Okay.
We're going to be creating a Theodore's world.
Okay.
And so it's not just one book, there'll be a larger arc. And so the second book in the series is Theodore's Falcon.
Ah, okay.
Okay. And without giving away too much in the first book,
Right.
there's a connection.
I'm smiling because I know.
Okay. There's a connection. And that'll be a little bit of what goes on with the books, which is that one book will be a natural lead-in to the next book.
Ah, okay.
And so the second book is Theodore's Falcon, and then the third book is Theodore's Friend,
Ah,
and then the fourth book is Theodore's Family, and we'll explore what it means to
Nice.
have brothers and sisters.
yes, yes.
And not always do we get along,
Right.
being from a family of 4 brothers. I love them dearly, but yes, there are times.
Yes.
Right? Okay. But anyway, we'll explore aspects of having brothers and sisters. That's Theodore's family. And then right now planned is a little bit of a conclusion of this first, for lack of a better word, chunk of episodes. Theodore, in the last book, will have grown up into not a young man, but a man who has a child who starts to tell, and Theodore starts to tell him the adventures that he had and his
Nice.
journey. So it comes a little bit, and as a present, Theodore's son gets like a book,
Oh, nice, nice.
you know, from his father, who we've shown grow up a little bit.
You've shown his journey
Yeah.
and his progression. I'm excited. I don't want to give away anything, but I hope the falcon shows up a little bit more
Yes.
when it comes down to his son.
And one of the things, this one, um, is, it's hard to phrase it, but the second and third and other installments will also address issues such as diversity. In the second book, a person of color, a family of color will be introduced, and so what does it mean to encounter a new culture?
Okay.
And a new type of person. Theodore's never seen anybody with darker skin than his. So what does that mean? And then also and that's the falconer who teaches him about the falcon. So here's a person
Nice.
of color that's actually the teacher to Theodore. And then the falconer also has a daughter, and they become friends. And then in another one of the books, we address bullying.
Okay.
And Theodore and Jamila, the daughter of the falconer, have an encounter, and Theodore helps Jamila and prevents some bullies from bothering her. So we're going to address some modern topics, but in a way that I hope is, again, showing a warm, loving, cooperative spirit to resolve conflict as compared to adversarial type way to resolve it.
Which is kind of what the world is not right now.
Right.
And our children are seeing our children are not seeing that.
Right. Not in the greater. So we hope to be a little bit of beacon, a little bit of light in some of the darkness that's out there right now.
Yes, yes.
And draw people to, again, a warm, comforting environment where they can see a better side
Yes.
of humanity.
I like that because when my daughter was young and she would go to the library at school and she'd bring home books and I would look at them and I could see the theme, the underlying theme in what they were teaching her, and I didn't like it, So I'm happy and proud to see that you're starting a series of books that you can give to your children safely.
Well, that's one of the big things, yes. And then the key there is giving it to your children. One of the aspects is to hopefully encourage young people to read.
Yes.
That's one of the big sub-motivations of it, is that people will read the book both to their children and then eventually their children themselves will read more, and it'll inspire them to read other books.
I think what I like most about it is that when I was young, I had my own little library.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had all of these classic books, and I was actually proud to have them. And it's a little old-fashioned maybe, but I like the fact of instilling in young children, this is your collection. So you start with the first one, Theodore's Plate, and then you just keep growing, and now they have their own little set of children's classic books. And then like Theodore, like he grows up and gives it to his child, they'll grow up and keep the books and give it to their grandchildren. So it's good, I think, to make children proud to have their own books.
So that's what obviously I agree 100%, and that's what we want to encourage. So that also it's not just one book, it's a series of books. So just that, start to collect them.
Yes.
Follow the story.
That's kind of fun.
Hopefully get inspired to check out some other book. That's great.
Yes. Well, to kids reading. And there's nothing wrong with their video games. I'm not here to knock that, but just to inspire them to want to read again.
Yep.
And now I loved the illustrations.
Oh, thanks. That's Jonathan.
Jonathan, can you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, Jonathan Fitzgibbons. Well, Jonathan is a young man who was one of my students. I've taught at a variety of different institutions, entertainment law, business law, and I happened to be teaching at that particular time at the Art Institute of Phoenix.
Okay.
And Jonathan was in one of my classes, and upon him graduating, I had seen his talent, and at the end of one of the classes, I approached him with a couple of other guys, and I said, hey, you guys are learning animation, right? And drawings and illustrations and so on and so forth. He said, yeah. And I said, well, Jonathan, would you be interested in trying to maybe work on a children's book? And he said, of course, Professor. So one thing led to another, and Jonathan became the illustrator of the book.
And the illustrations are beautiful.
I think so too. I think Jonathan's got a great deal of talent. And then there are actually going to be a couple different iterations, but Jonathan will always be the illustrator of the books.
Okay.
There's an animator that is turning the books into, the animated special. And that's a person named Samara Boyd. But there's a couple different iterations of Theodore. But with this is what we're terming the classic edition, the first edition.
Okay.
There'll only be a limited supply.
Okay.
And then the next edition of Theodore's Plate will have the illustrations from the animated special.
I see.
So there'll be the classic edition, the original classic edition, and then there'll be the Christmas animated edition, and then of course the other books will adapt some of these prior iterations into the new style. Jonathan will do the illustrations on the new book.
Okay.
So it's a kind of a multifaceted team that's putting everything together. But for the illustrations of the book, that's Jonathan.
Okay.
Yes, and I was so lucky to find him.
He's awesome. He's totally awesome. So do you think, so you said this animation is a Christmas animation?
For Theodore's Plate, yes. It's aimed for the Christmas season. Now, we're working on it now, and obviously Christmas is, believe it or not, this is, I can't believe this is already October.
Yeah, it's going fast.
I mean, it's going fast. So we're working on it right now, but the projected airing date would be the fall of 2022.
Okay.
For the animated special.
Okay, wonderful.
The book is available right now at the website, www.theodoresjourney.media. So www.theodoresjourney.media.
Okay.
And then it's also available at Barnes & Noble and on Amazon.
Oh, wow, okay.
So we
on the
were
major
very
outlets.
proud, which I do have to count, we were very proud that we were now carried by Barnes & Noble online.
Yes, very impressive.
So that was a nice step. And then of course we want to try and get it into the stores, but that's actually underway.
Right, right.
So
you need to order your book. Go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to the website. And you want to move fast so that you can get it in time for Christmas.
Oh, I would yes, I would definitely encourage that, yeah. And
yes.
What's the word I want? Support that.
Yes.
And order early so that it'll be timely delivered.
Get it in time. Wrap it up and give it to the kids, but more so even, and I'm kind of like my sister has 2 boys, and at first I was thinking, okay, I've got to get a book for my little, nephews. And then I thought, you know what? They each need their own book. Because you know how you were talking about siblings. Sharing is nice, but sometimes you want your own
That's right.
copy. So you don't want to share everything. So, get your own copy for each kid. I've got people on my Facebook that have grandkids, and I was specifically targeting you because there's nothing more warm than when grandma or grandpa sits down and reads a book, like you were saying at bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
Your family member, your mom and dad would sit down and read you a book.
Yes.
So who does that anymore?
Well, not much, and that's part of the motivation is to bring that tradition back again.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, they're going to
And
bed
again,
with cell phones
nothing
now.
against video games and cell phones and all that kind of stuff, but yes, I am of an older generation, but nothing like a good old-fashioned book.
Right. Family values. You can't push family values hard or long enough. We don't have it. When I grew up, we used to sit down at the dinner table together.
Yeah.
And
so did we.
People did not call your house after 9 o'clock unless it was an emergency.
Yes.
And so with this generation of children that's coming up, I understand how parents have to work, all the time. But I think this is a beautiful opportunity this Christmas, especially with so much going on. I want to encourage everyone to get out and get a copy of this book, Theodore's Plate, and order it now. Everybody on my Facebook page, on my It's Floria page, please go out and order the book so that you can get it in time, and order one for each grandchild. And then follow it as now how can they keep in contact with you as the second one is coming out?
Well, of course, social media. We'll be on all the we are on most of the platforms. So again, we have the website, www.theodoresjourney.media, and on there are constant updates about what we're doing. And so right now, for example, we're posting updates of the animation, the progress of the animation.
Okay, good.
And then there'll be announcements for the new book, and each book, by the way, if I didn't mention that, each book also will be turned into an animated segment.
Nice, okay.
So now, not each one is set at Christmas. Theodore's Plate is at Christmas. The other ones will be a variety of different times of the year. But Theodore's Plate is directed towards the Christmas season.
And what a perfect time to be talking about it, and what a perfect time to bring it, because you've got time to get in on this. So, all the parents, all the grandparents with young children, please start your children's library off and start them becoming proud to own their own library and to begin reading. Start off by reading to them, or if they're, a reader, let them read. It's getting cold now. Next week it's going to be cold. You can start snuggling up in front of the fireplace and making some s'mores and marshmallows. And
there you go.
That time is special. My daughter, when she got 16, I said, what was your best, most memorable chime as a child? Your best Christmas gift? And I thought she was going to say that yellow bike.
Yes,
I got her a yellow 10-speed. And she said, Mom, my most memorable time when I was a kid, she said, is when you took off time from work. She says you were pregnant with Joshua and you were off, for the baby. And she said you came to my school and you went on all my field trips and you were there for the mother-daughter. And I was sitting there thinking, that's what you remembered the most? Not the cool yellow bike that you wanted so much? And when she got out of the car, it kind of teared me up, because I said, you know what? They just want time. They just want time with you. Yes, the bikes are cool and the video and stuff is cool, but it's crazy how they want time with you.
Right.
And it's tough for us to try to make that time, but this book gives you an excuse to slow things down and give your kids some of that quality time that they so desire so much.
Right.
So,
Take a break from Grand Theft Auto and, you know, read
Yes.
Theodore's plate to them.
absolutely. I wanted to give you some time. I just wanted to leave some space for you to say anything else that you wanted to share with our audience.
Well, I mean, right now I feel very much that I've spoken about what I really want to try and get across,
Great,
which
great.
is a warm, comforting, safe place, an environment that they feel they can open the book, not be confronted without the explicit,
Yes, yes,
all the different things.
yes,
If anything, the explicitness here is warmth,
yes.
sharing, giving, you know,
Generosity.
those kind of things. Tolerance,
Yes,
diversity,
values,
value.
character values.
So that's what is the main subtext of the series.
I can't think of a better time and actually a better gift to give your child than a book. I can tell you
A book, and absolutely.
Yes. I started
Give 'em
reading
a
books.
book.
It just opened me up to so many things.
I did too.
And I loved reading. And I loved, and some of my books I would go back and read again. I read Alice in Wonderland more than once.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so let them curl up with a book at night instead of, you know, some of the social media stuff. So it's been such a pleasure having you here. We're
It's
going to
been
have
great.
Stephen back. We're going to have him back, and we also want to make a way to get Jonathan Fitzgibbons. We want to get
Yes.
some of the other people on. So we're going to have him back, and when we have him back, I want you to have your copy of the book. And it would be wonderful to kind of make it sort of interactive. So
That'd be
you
great.
could show us pictures of your book. And I would love to be able, I'm going to stick my neck out now, and see if we might be able to do something with an autographed copy or
Oh, absolutely.
something fun, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, for the children and for the parents. So
We could do special offers of illustrations.
wonderful.
You know, the individual artwork, and then also copies of the book.
Okay.
You know, signed by myself and Jonathan. So we would make those available as
If they come.
little gifts, prizes, whatever.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you here and sharing this with you. And we are going to have Stephen back with us again.